I knew he was going. I just was waiting.
Cases stopped me from traveling all across the world making. So I just want to get it over with, and, you know, accept my guilty plea. I'm ready to get over it.
Anything you want to say to your fans?
Just say a prayer for me. I just need prayer. I don't need nothing else.
Well, Charleston White was celebrating you taking the plea deal. I think he even said he hopes you die in jail and stuff like that.
Yeah, I heard.
The biggest thing right now was that you actually accepted a plea deal for your federal gun case.
Yeah.
Now, how long have you been fighting this thing from the very, very beginning?
I've been fighting for probably 3 years now, probably.
3 years.
Boosie might be staring down a brutal 10-year sentence in his federal gun case, and the internet couldn't wait to pile on. The loudest voice, Charleston White. The second the news hit the blogs, Charleston hopped on live acting like he just hit the lottery. He was cracking up, saying he always knew Boosie would end up behind bars, even bragging he'd been saving this celebration for years. Then he took it even darker, saying he wouldn't care if Boosie never stepped foot outside a prison cell again. Boosie himself had already told fans earlier this month that he took a plea deal, worn out from fighting a case that kept haunting him like a ghost. You
were attacking Kanye because of the
Nah, it's Kanye West. It just happened. Nigga been coming at me. He been coming at me. It's just, you know, I can't respond to those people, bro. Like, that's a danger to what I got going on. Can't take no risk of losing this behind, you know.
Even though it got dismissed once before, prosecutors came back swinging in 2024, re-indicting him harder than ever. Now that best choice plea could cost him a whole decade of his life. So while Boosie is online posting teary messages about trusting God and admitting he's just tired of it all, Charleston White is online clowning, literally popping champagne like it's his birthday. Imagine that. One man praying for strength, the other dancing on his downfall in real time. Boosie's legal drama has been dragging on forever, but this federal gun charge turned into the nail in his coffin. He was snatched up for being a felon in possession of a firearm, one of the hardest charges to beat. At first, fans thought the storm had finally cleared when the case got dismissed in 2023. It felt like Boosie was free to get back to his music, his family, and his bag. But nope, the feds came back in 2024 with the same charge, basically saying, "Nice try, but we're not done with you." That's when Boosie broke down and grabbed the plea deal. On X, he admitted, "I thought this case was over and I was gonna get on with my life, but God don't make mistakes and I'm tired of fighting." Those weren't just words, that was a man sounding truly defeated. And if you've been following Boosie since Baton Rouge, you know he's been dodging bullets both literal and legal for decades, surviving cases, surviving beefs, surviving even health scares. But this one feels different. 10 years is no slap on the wrist. It's a life changer. And the exhaustion showed in every single line of his posts. His energy wasn't the same Boosie who used to troll, clap back, and fight the whole world online. This time, he sounded like a man finally cornered. Fans flooded his mentions with love and prayers, but Charleston White, he went the opposite way, going live with the biggest grin, saying he called this years ago. He made it clear he never believed Boosie would escape this one, and now that the sentence is locked in, he's thrilled to rub it in. He even pushed it further, saying he hopes Boosie dies in prison, a wild and nasty thing to say, even for Charleston. But let's not forget, this is the same man who built his entire career being the most outrageous troll in hip-hop. His timing made it even uglier. Boosie hadn't even had a chance to process his fate before Charleston turned it into his own comedy skit live online. This beef ain't new. It's been bubbling since late 2022, when Kanye West set the internet on fire with that White Lives Matter shirt. Boosie stepped up, calling Yeah out for disrespecting black people, and honestly, most folks were rocking with Boosie on that take. But Charleston White? He jumped online blasting Boosie just for speaking on Kanye, and that's when things spiraled. Charleston didn't just clap back at Boosie. Nah, he went straight for the jugular, dragging Boosie's son, Tootie Raw, and even T.I.'s son King Harris into the mess. He called them ugly, said they couldn't fight, and even predicted they'd end up in jail one day. That's when people realized Charleston wasn't just some regular troll. He was the type to get low and target kids if it meant breaking their parents down. What shocked people most was how calm Boosie stayed. Instead of exploding like everyone expected, he held it together. During an interview with Tony the Closer, Boosie explained why he wouldn't snap. Because the wrong words could land him right back behind bars, especially once Charleston dragged kids into it. That told fans everything. Boosie wasn't scared. He just knew Charleston was baiting him, setting traps that could ruin him if he bit. But that calm didn't last long because by early 2023, the beef was boiling. Charleston was already trolling T.I. over his paperwork party, and that's when Boosie's son Tootie decided to clap back. He called Charleston old, messy, and even told him to go die. Charleston being Charleston, he cranked it up to a whole new level. He went live saying, "I hope your daddy died from that diabetes. I hope they don't send him the insulin 1 month." Who even says that? He basically wished death on Boosie just to get under his son's skin. Then it got even crazier, because just weeks later, Tootie actually got arrested on gun charges, and Charleston wasted no time claiming credit. He bragged about calling the cops, tipping off the Department of Public Safety, and even sending in pictures. He claimed the police were already watching Tootie because, in his words, Boosie was a 6-time convicted murderer who used kids to kill people. That was the moment this stopped being internet trolling and turned into real-life damage. And it didn't end there. Not even 3 months later, Boosie himself got arrested in San Diego right after a court hearing. And of course, Charleston popped back out on Instagram Live, grinning ear to ear. He said this was all God's plan, even comparing Boosie to Daniel in the lion's den, like prison was some twisted spiritual test. He turned Boosie's pain into his own sermon, making it sound like jail was divine punishment, while he laughed about it the whole time. Even when Boosie tried to play it cool, you could tell Charleston was living rent-free in his head. By early 2024, the beef wasn't just rap drama anymore. It had spilled straight into internet culture. Aiden Ross was supposed to have Boosie on his stream, but Boosie wasn't trying to deal with Charleston's name popping up, so he curved the invite. Next thing you know, Aiden flipped the whole story, claiming he turned Boosie down out of loyalty to Charleston White. That lie spread like wildfire until DJ Vlad jumped in, dragging Aiden for siding with a man who once praised Hitler and denied the Holocaust. That moment showed just how wide Charleston's shadow stretched. Even young streamers were tossing his name around as clout currency, and Charleston wasn't about to let things cool off. By March, he popped back online claiming Boosie had told promoters not to book him. Instead of leaving it there, he spun it into a whole rant, swearing he'd already hit up the feds and was ready to get Boosie jammed up over so-called threats. And of course, Charleston couldn't resist making it nastier. He dragged Boosie's health into it again, clowning him just to twist the knife deeper. He went live swearing up and down that the FBI was watching Boosie because of him. Proof? None. But Charleston doesn't need proof. He just says it loud enough, and suddenly the rumor feels real. Even Boosie admitted he's been getting calls from dudes already locked up asking him, "When you coming in here with us?" Imagine that. You're carrying the weight of a federal sentence, and inmates are clowning you before you even set foot inside. That's insult on top of injury, and Charleston knows exactly what he's doing. Another thing people whisper about. Boosie never even wanted to take his case to trial. He went straight for the plea. And honestly, can you blame him? Imagine if Charleston White showed up in court, the same man who lives for chaos, turning the courtroom into a circus, pointing fingers, maybe even testifying, then running to the blogs before the judge's gavel even dropped. For Boosie, that risk just wasn't worth it. And here's the wild part. It ain't far-fetched at all. Charleston has a history of cooperating, and he's never been shy about it. According to records, when he was just 14, he was part of a robbery with other teens. During the robbery, one of them, Antoine Doolittle, shot and killed a man named Michael Levy. When it came time for court, Charleston testified against him. In street culture, that's unforgivable, even if you're a kid. To this day, people drag him for telling on his own crew. But Charleston? He doesn't run from it. He actually leans in, saying, "I was young, I was in court, I told the truth." That's not snitching, that's survival. He's even doubled down, saying he never lived by any so-called street code, and he doesn't care who gets mad. Which is crazy because this is the same man who calls rappers rats, while proudly admitting he snitched himself. Recently, footage from that old juvenile case even resurfaced, and the internet lit him up again. Folks called him a hypocrite, blasting him for preaching about the code one day, then bragging about testifying the next. The clip went viral, and Charleston, instead of backing down, just got louder, making it clear he thrives off contradiction. So when you look at all of that together, Boosie's decision to skip a trial and take that plea deal makes a lot more sense. The last thing he wanted was to risk Charleston White somehow showing up and running his mouth under oath. This is the same man who brags about calling cops, setting people up, and wearing snitch like a badge of honor. With someone like that lurking around, Boosie knew better than to gamble in court. If Charleston had even the slightest shot at being tied to Boosie's case, you already know he would have flipped that courtroom into his own personal stage. Picture it, him pointing fingers, cracking jokes at the jury, then hopping on live right after screaming, "I helped put Boosie away." That's not even a stretch. That's exactly how Charleston moves, turning real life into a circus act every chance he gets. That's why he's so loud right now. To Charleston, this isn't just another rapper caught up in legal drama. This is karma. It's validation for all the trolling he's been doing for years, proof that the mockery and the insults weren't just noise, but, in his mind, prophecy coming true. When you trace it back, the beef starting in 2022, the jabs at Tootie, the online rants, the arrests, the snitching talk, it almost feels like Charleston has been waiting, maybe even praying for this exact moment where Boosie stares down a decade behind bars. And here's the kicker, Boosie ain't even locked up yet. He's still free right now, but with this plea deal hanging heavy, that 10-year stretch looks way too real. Meanwhile, Charleston White is already clowning like the game is over, dancing online like he's the one who won. The streets are split, some laughing along with Charleston, others waiting in silence, wondering if the hammer's really about to drop on Boosie for good. But here's the part that stings the most. If Charleston is this loud while Boosie is still technically walking free, just imagine the circus he'll create if sentencing day actually comes. The internet won't just break, it'll explode with Charleston front and center, clowning like it's his championship parade. And trust me, you don't want to miss what happens next. So hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe, because this story is only getting messier from here.